Our next speaker before we go to lunch is somebody I've got to know for the last, couple of years now. Time flies when you're having fun. But is somebody who is such a caring human being, provides so much love and support for her team, as for me, like my family, the people that we've collaborated with, and she's come so far in her company. I mean, this is a woman that one day her son came to her and said, "Can I see you more?" And she was working a corporate job that she was working nonstop. And she said, "Yes, we're going to make that happen." And then she left that job and started a company that became an Inc. 5000 company and has almost 100 employees, and they're growing very fast. And so this person that I'm going to bring up here in a second, her name is Marcia. She's the CEO and founder of the O'Connor Group, which is also one of the sponsors for Rise and Record this year. Let's give a round of applause for that. Yeah. O'Connor Group is a leading provider of human resources and talent acquisition solutions, which is based in King of Prussia, Pennsylvania, and Raleigh, North Carolina. They're also opening here in Nashville. With over 80 employees around the country, the O'Connor Group works in professional services, life sciences and healthcare, information technology, and manufacturing sectors. In 2022 alone, now listen to this, they were recipient of the Inc. 5000 fastest growing private companies, the Philadelphia Business Journal's Best Places to Work, the Enquirer's Soaring 76, Philadelphia Titan 100, the Entrepreneurs Forum Philly 100, and Philadelphia Business Journal's Women-Owned Business Awards. Come on, let's give it a round of applause to that. She is currently serving as the president of the Philadelphia chapter of the EO Group, and she's also working on a new venture to help other women entrepreneurs excel in their businesses called Shadow Her. This is somebody who's going to bring some power, maybe some tears, and some inspiration to you. Please stand up and help me welcome Marcia O'Connor.
Love you.
Oh. Good.
All right. Hi. How you doing? How are y'all doing out
much
there?
Much better now.
Woo! All right. Thanks for
Wow.
that great. Now listen, I don't have a luscious London accent, okay? I have a fabulous Philly accent. So, yo, Adrian. So that's where we're from.
So, Marcia, you have come a long ways.
Yes.
I want to go back in time, your story of where you grew up and what your childhood and as a teenager life was like.
Yeah, we'll have to start with that to show you where we're at today. And I think as Brian mentioned this morning, everybody has a story and everybody has a little bit of trauma in their lives. The reason why my topic today is I'm a nobody, my dad told me that when he dropped me off for college orientation. My dad was a blue-collar worker, and he was just, what would you say, 42 years at GE. And so he was the kind of guy that basically had said, if you're going to, know anybody, you're going to have to do it on your own because I'm a nobody. And it was very impactful at the time because I felt as if, I sat there like, okay, and I'm the only person there in the entire college orientation. There's my dad. And I said, okay, well, my dad just left me to go back home, and he's like, I'll pick you up. And nobody else, all the parents were all there. And I'm like, okay, I got this. Like, I have to make connections. I have to do this. And I was the only one in my whole family that went to college. So it was all good. But, this is me when I was little. I was 6 months old. So many of us here have so much in common. And like Brian, I didn't know Brian was adopted until we took a walk on one of our Rise and Record sessions. And ironically enough, I said, I was adopted too. So this is me at 6 months old. I just came home actually from the agency. Found out later that I was in 6 foster care homes beforehand. And I'm small little, don't know all this stuff till later and all. And then I really feel as if my parents did a phenomenal job of just taking me in and raising me. And I had a sister that was adopted 3 years before me. And unfortunately, I would say back in, it was December of '77, every parent's worst nightmare, my sister basically had Ewing sarcoma. Ewing sarcoma is a very, very rare bone cancer that basically she had, and that just changed our lives forever because my dad was blue collar, my mom didn't work, and every penny we had literally went into the hospital bills and paying off the hospital bills. So we spent my 10 years, and I was 10, 11, 12 years old, I spent pretty much every day at Children's Hospital Philadelphia. And when we realized, like what you do. And when you're a kid, you don't know. But my best friends back then, my best friends had no hair. They were reeling around, basically. They had a lot of them had leukemia, they had cancer. They were going through chemotherapy back then. And the chemo was way different back in the 70s than it is today. And so they were my best friends. I actually had a guy that had no legs, taught me how to play bumper pool. And I became really good at it because when you're there every single day and you play bumper pool, you become really good. So they called me the shark, which is actually really great. And but you make really friends. And I think back then, I just made friends really easily with people. I didn't look at they had no hair. I didn't look at they had skin grafts all over the place. I didn't look at they had no legs. I just looked at it as like, I wanted to be a friend with you. And so I think that has helped me to this day of making friends very easy. And people say you're very easy to have relationships with. And I'm very thankful for that. But I didn't realize how bad it was at home. And because of that, one of the things that my dad one day, we're going to the hospital, and all of a sudden he starts pulling all the cushions off of the sofas. And I said, what are you doing? And I guess he was like a little annoyed I asked a question. And he said, what do you think I'm doing? I'm trying to find quarters to pay for parking. And I sat there like, well, let me help you. And I started pulling off the other cushions, to try to find quarters. And he didn't realize, he said, I don't even have money right now to pay for tires. He goes, because they're so bad. And I sat there like, well, we're gonna get through this together, And he realized, like, I don't wanna fight about money. You don't wanna talk about this. You wanna make sure, like, one day in your life that you don't ever have to go through any of this. And so, when I went to college, and I paid for college because my parents didn't have the money. And so I had good grades and I had loans and stuff like that. You have to do what you want to do. I just was like, I'm not going to be this person in my life. I'm always going to make sure I can protect my family. And so lo and behold, when I went to college and I graduated, my dad was, 42 years GE. Stay the same place, do what they tell you, do all this stuff. Well, I was that rebel. I was that person that would do interviews and wear like a pink suit. I would be that person. They'd be like, well, if they really want me, well, how badly do they want me? Because I had the grades. I did everything possible to do all that kind of stuff. And then when you go in there, you're like, I got into accounting, public accounting. I was so proud. I get in there and I'm like, this is it. I am bored out of my mind. And I would always ask that question, why and how come? And so lo and behold, I got out of Arthur Anderson, and my dad was so angry at me. He said, what are you doing? Don't they pay your bills? They're good to you. And I said, Dad, I'm about to double my salary. I don't care. You go back. And I sat there like, oh my God, I have to stop this. Dad, I love you, but I need to do this for me. And I did. And it was the best move I did because I had to go out and see what life was like. And I went to other jobs and I didn't like it and I went back to here and then I figured out what I was doing and back and forth and I had failed a few times and you get back up again. Then I get married and I'm in a job that, whatever I said was wrong. And I sat there like, but this could be done better and we're fishing and doing this. And, my husband kept saying, oh my God, you've been talking about doing your business forever. Why aren't you doing this? And I said, you know what? You're right, you know what I mean? And it was interesting because I have this philosophy out there sometimes is be brave enough to suck at something new. Yeah, really, that's what it comes down to. Because the biggest thing holding you back right now, if you're in that mode of like, should I, could I, would have, is that fear. It's that fear, that stupid word fear again, that you have to get over it. And so my son, like Brandon was saying, he was 7 years old. He's much taller than me now. And he looked up and he said, Mom, can I see you more? Pow. And I sat there like, yes, I'm going to make that happen. And lo and behold, September 1st, 2007, it was 6 months after he said that. And it also helps having a boss that you don't really like. And, and I just said, I have to do this. And I didn't have a lot. And people always say, I have to have so much to get started. I have to have everything perfect. I have to do all that stuff. No, you just have to get started. And I think that's the hardest part for people to understand. And I had $8,000 bonus. That was it. I bootstrapped I was the breadwinner. My husband's a coach. And I sat there like, I can do this. My husband's like, you got this. And I came home like, you okay if we lose the house one day? And he said, yeah, okay. I was like, no, you don't understand. Like, are you okay if we lose the house one day? And he had said, yeah, sure. And I'm like, I don't think he's really hearing me. And so ironically, I started in 2007. But what happened in 2008? Yeah, that wonderful recession came through. So I can tell you right now that I had literally 5 clients that December of 2009. 4 of them called me within 2 weeks before Christmas. Hey, Marcia, I'm really sorry. We ran out of money. We can't use you anymore. I had 1 left. And I sat there like, holy crap, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna make it. I didn't even tell my husband. He didn't do well with stress. And I had to make sure, I have to make this all happen. And then things got bad, and it was like, okay, I have to make it happen. I dipped in my 401k. I had to do that because I had to make sure that I was providing things. He wasn't doing well with stress. My son was young. I'm sitting there like, oh my God, I'm gonna make this work. And I had a lot of prayers. And I'm a big believer in The Secret. I would listen to The Secret literally probably 5 times a day. And basically learning about, if you believe it, it will happen. If you say 4 checks in the mailbox that day, it is going to happen. The things I made up to make sure people thought I was bigger than I was, and I would tell my husband at night, well, I told him my team was working on it, and my husband's like, who's your team? I'm like, me, myself, and I. And they said, they don't need to know that. And I did that for about a good 3 years, and people always thought I had a big team, and they didn't realize it was just me. And so I didn't hire my first full-time hire for 3 years. She's still with me today. And ironically, you learn, I didn't have a place for 7 years. I had it out of my no window basement little office, and I laugh because they're like, where's your office at? I'm like, it's under construction. And they would laugh at me and they're sitting there like, oh, really? You want to come to my place? Okay, that sounds great. Want to go to lunch? I don't have the money. No, but how about we get, I have 2 lunches a day. How about we do coffee at 1:30? Oh, okay, let's do coffee. So it's stuff like that you have to realize what you're going through, and you have to sometimes, make it up as you go along, but you have to figure out who you are, where's your vision. As Simon just mentioned, that vision is so strong. You got to write it down. It's nice to think about it and talk about it and all. But the ones who write it down, when I say, can I see your plan? Oh, I don't have one. I'm like, ooh, okay, we need to work with you. I still have on my board in my little office in that basement every year of revenues I've had to this day. And every time I'm in that basement, I specifically look in that room and say, look how far you've come. And what I also do is I have my goal of what I want to achieve for next year on there. Because you write it down, and it will happen. So some of the things that you want to do and go outside your comfort zone, and it's really hard to do that sometimes because I say people get on the comfy couch. When they get on the comfy couch, what happens is they get very comfortable, and they're so afraid of going outside that box. And I am here to tell you, I started my business at 39 years old. People are like, I could have done this, I'm too old, it's too late. The only person who thinks it's too late is you. And you have to keep in mind, if that's what you really want to do in life, then you go out and do it. Now listen, one of the reasons why I am such a humongous fan of this guy right here is because I was definitely afraid to be basically on stage like this. I was afraid of videos. I was afraid of talking. So he'd make us do this mastermind, and I'm like, I'm gonna get out of this comfort zone, I'm gonna do this, I got this. So with all these little things, we had to do videos, like every single week was a challenge. My first time doing this, it was like 50 takes of myself doing it, But I realize now that people are like, you're so much more comfortable. I said, yeah, but it took a lot for me to get here. So that's why I love doing this so much. But one of the things I gotta let you know is when I was in an association, and I had to put together something from scratch. And the president said, hey, we need some kind of award here that's basically gonna represent HR, and nobody has done it. I said, you know what, I'll do it. And he's like, you sure? I'm like, I'll do it. And when I did, I got a bunch of people together in a room, we got it going, and lo and behold, we created this thing called the HR Person of the Year. And one of the things I want to make sure you all know, leave when you know there is more out there, because don't stay because you upset people. I'm in the world of HR consulting. I can tell you, most people stay in jobs because they're afraid of making somebody else upset. You are only upsetting your own body, and you're wasting your own time. Please don't do that. I would also say too, when you're out there, this is an award that when that guy had asked me, when he was president, I was VP of his marketing, he said, hey, could you basically create this award? I can tell you this award now in Philadelphia has been running for 22 years, has raised over $100,000 for charity. And it's all because I said yes. And they don't even know a lot of times nowadays that I started this. And you know what? I don't tell them out there because it has a bigger purpose out there and all too. But the fact that I did all that opened up so many connections for my current business because I had said yes. So when someone's asking you out there and you know nothing about it and how to put it together, just say yes. It's amazing where it's going to take you next, for sure. I think also too, you do this all the time. You trust your gut.
Yeah.
You've done this, you've gone up, you've gone down. You know what, listen, when I was having a really rough time, in 2009, and I only had one client left, it took about 6 months later before the other big client came in my life. And times were really bad at home because it was just very stressful with money and all. And I love my husband and we are very tight to this day, but I can tell you stress and lack of money wasn't his thing. And so he had said to me, I'll never forget the words, he said, "You got us in this mess, you get us out of this mess." And that was just like, wow, let's put the daggers all over today, And I sat there like, you know what? And that's when I knew that I was the protector. And I was like doing this because I didn't want to worry about money in my life. I didn't want to worry about my son and also the calmness in my home. And I did exactly that. And so we were basically at that $1 million mark. We got there about 3 years into the company and we moved ourselves up with people, started hiring. I hired my first person. She had a full-time job. I said to her, listen, I don't even have benefits to offer you. And I said, but I will. And she took a chance on me. And now we have a full load of benefits. I have 2 different plans. I have a 401k plan. We have maternity leave. You name it, we have pet insurance, And I didn't even have insurance when I started. What I'm trying to let everybody know is you have a plan and a vision and an action. You really can do anything you want in life. I always tell people, let me see your hand. And they're like, what's in it? I'm like, it's whatever you want it to be. I don't think people understand that, but you have to go through the ups and the downs because it definitely won't come easy. Because there were 3 o'clock panics. The 3 o'clock was I'd wake up completely and my heart was coming out of my chest. I'm like, what is that? And you realize later, oh, wow, that's a panic attack. Got it. And you have to basically trust your gut and what you're doing. And there's a lot of times too with business and with clients. And one time I didn't get a big client, because my telephone number, I put my cell phone number in there wrong. And he told me that. And I said, oh my God, I lost this huge account because of my darn phone number. Never, ever made that mistake again. So it's all these different things you have to do. Now, yeah, I love making connections. This is me. This is so me. And I'm always making connections. If I'm not all with you on LinkedIn by the end of this conference, something's wrong because that's usually me making a connection with you. But you have to use those connections and know people and get back to people. Most of my job when I started my company, literally about 30% per that week was getting back to people that I was trying to help, not the other way around. I do believe in the give, get. The more you give, the more you're going to get. So here's the thing, family first. Make sure your company, make sure your vision and all too is around your family. Too many people have become super successful and they forgot where they started. And so mine was making sure that I was a mom for my son, to make sure I was there for him. I'm very happy to say that I probably missed 5 baseball games his entire time, but I can tell you that we are very tight, we are very close, and my husband and we're all very close, not just the 3 of us and all, but there's us at Penn State last year, and so it's just family first. That's my motto with my work. So my team knows if their kid is sick or something like that, what I always tell them, I'm like, why are you talking to me? Take care of your kid. Because you're thinking that first and foremost. So make sure you take care of your family, whether it's your own family or your work family. But if you take care of them, they're going to take care of your clients. And my guys take very good care of my clients. Now we have 80 people. Now we'll be, I would say, over COVID made HR cool. It sounds really weird. COVID was horrible. But for HR in my world, HR basically became like, we need HR. Before it wasn't never a need. It was a nice to have. But now it's a need. And so all of a sudden, we just went skyrocketing in growth. And because of that and how we take care of our clients, we have a white glove approach. All of our clients, if I hear of a birthday, an anniversary, or something like that, they automatically get another entrepreneur's chocolate-covered pretzels that says, congratulations from the O'Connor group, or I'm sorry about something in the family or whatnot, and they get that from us. So we do that every week. But that to us is our way of giving back. So make sure that you make that impact out there. I also think this is my team. So this is how we started using video. This is how we started getting out there. All the different things that we have done. We did the Zooms. We got together basically with Linville Orchards. We had down the shore. We had the walks. We had the babies. All the babies we produced. Oh my God. We had 8 babies alone this year. And it's just like, if you really want to have a family, work for the O'Connor group, okay? Trust me. Right, Megan? There she goes. And so it's all fun to see, but the videos were so helpful. We didn't really know what we were doing with this. So the mastermind coming in here and hearing what other people were doing and how they were getting out there, how to get on Instagram, how to do all that stuff, you might not think that it's totally worth it. Has changed basically who we are out there as a company. As a matter of fact, so much so in Philadelphia, people will say to me, if it's posted by us, you know it's good because you guys are all over social media. I wasn't when I first started, but we are now. And I am now too because of Brandon and his team, sorry. But so much stuff you're gonna learn from this, guys, it's amazing. I would also say, so here's another thing during COVID that happens. I don't know about you, but I've been told this by a few people. Your creativity isn't in your office. It's outside your office. You need to find your zen, and mine is walking. I do lots of long walks. And during COVID, I would take my husband and I would go on these walks every day. And I said, I just want to help other people. So we came up with this survival kit. This is the very first edition of our survival kit. And this went out to all of our clients. And you know what? We didn't ask for anything. It was more like, how can we get you visible? What's happening out there? How can we make sure that HR and TA and people are being taken, especially young entrepreneurs that were really struggling. And we would promote them in this. It was the top 10 of the week. This was unbelievable successful because people were like, thank you so much for helping us. Thank you for getting the word out there, blah, blah, blah. And we asked nothing in return. It was just us trying to help other people. When COVID basically, didn't say it really ended, but when it calmed down, the amount of work we got for the people that read this thing was unbelievable. So much work that in 2021, we hired 42 people. And it's because of the fact of it's just a small, being in the zen, trying to help others, thinking of others and all too, it was crazy. And one of the things we did was basically for our team during COVID was, it was, hold on, this is popping through here, slowly, there we go. We did these carrot kits, and these carrot kits became big. So this was the carrot kit on the right, it had milk in it, it had a whole chicken in it, it had bread, it had everything to make chicken soup, it had 2 rolls of toilet paper. You would have thought that these were like the best bonuses they got all year long. And we actually had the restaurant that we do a lot of work with, we let everybody know on our newsletter, like, hey, these guys are doing this out there. It cost us $35 a basket. $35. They even did free delivery for us. And it went out to, like, back then, I only had about 45 people. But 45 people it went out to. They were like, oh my God, you talk about great social media plug. People were like putting it out there, this is so great, thank you so much, where did you get this from, blah, 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 blah. Thanks for taking care of your people. So things like this mean an awful lot, but this was during COVID when we didn't know where we were all going, how long this is going to last, and basically what's in it. And that song you heard today, Hold My Hand, that's the song I played every day during 2020 because I literally would sit on the floor and say, what are we doing, where are we going, and how are we going to get there? But I feel as if like I have a presence of hold my hand, we're gonna get through this together. And so for 15 minutes, for 3 months, I would be on a Zoom from 12 to 12:15 with the entire team. How are we doing today? Well, you don't always ask that question during a pandemic, by the way. So we changed the question because everybody's like, not good, do I have a job, blah, blah, blah. And I said, let's change the question. One great thing that happened today. And the answers were amazing. And so all of a sudden we just kept together as a team. So important during a very bad time. It's great, the good times, but the bad times can be even better if you take care of your people, okay? And then also, this is what also happened during COVID. We created CEO Care. We created Coffee and Connections. We created HR Office Hours. We created HR Access, Talent Talks, Executive Women Breakfast Series. All this started during COVID. So even though it was a horrible pandemic, the creativity was just flowing, and all of our clients loved it because they felt as if they were like, you're listening to me, you're doing this for me, you're not expecting anything in return, and we didn't. We didn't charge anybody anything for this stuff. We just did it because we cared and wanted to make an impact, and it was a huge impact that we made. So it was phenomenal, but it just came out of basically my team, and listening to my team, and what do you want to do and how you want to get there. It's awesome. So we have core values. We have 4 core values on L2, and integrity, execution, collaboration, curiosity. And so my team came up with this new mascot called Cece, which is basically the 4. And basically Cece is a purple squirrel. And if you're in the recruiting world, a purple squirrel is a job that you can't fill easily. And now Cece basically has a better life than I do because Cece's been to Disney and Hawaii and Italy. And I'm sitting there like, so we make this big joke on like, where's Cece going to next? But it brings in that community. It brings in your team. If you're going to take care of your team, you got to make them feel like they're adding value. They're accountable. It was their idea. We have a newsletter called the Euro Chronicle. I didn't name it, but my team did. They're so passionate about what we do and how we do it. And that's what you can provide. We're actually expanding this year, as Brandon mentioned. We're doing Nashville, we're doing Raleigh, we're doing Tampa. 3 of the biggest cities with the highest entrepreneur growth on the East Coast right now. It's amazing. It's all thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And I really don't think we would have gotten here without my amazing team, without Brandon and his group. And then I have this huge family now with Brandon. And I'm so thankful every day for this, because the fact that he keeps introducing me more people and more people and more people. So it's been a phenomenal journey. But it's really what you make of it. And people say to me, what would you have done differently? I don't know if I would do anything differently. I probably would have started sooner. I probably wouldn't have thought so hard about making everything perfect, because it doesn't have to be. So culture is everything. Yes, we won a lot of awards. We have a social aid. We have our clubs and all that. We have a huge philanthropic group called Connectors Who Care. You have to do things for your team to basically bring back to the community. What is their purpose? Find out your team. Ask your team, basically, what do they want to do and how do they want to be challenged and what's next in their lives, and be that change to help them get there. Most employers do not do that. Most employers do the exit interviews and not the stay interviews. Do the stay interviews. Find out what is missing, what else that they can be doing, because they have more talents than they're probably sharing with you. Very important. So what I have learned from this whole journey, which is really cool, people always remember how you make them feel. Every single time.
Yes.
So 3 nice things a day. Tell people, like love your shoes, love your hat, whatever. Just make them feel better that day. Go with your gut. Always go with your gut. Even hiring decisions, I go with my gut. Believe it or not, I'm probably like Simon. I love everybody, so it's like, hey, let's hire them. But go with your gut on that one. Always do the right thing, even if it's hard. And by all means, there's gonna be plenty of times when you're like, well, we could probably just get by. Don't do it. You will regret it. Take care of the people, and they'll take care of you. I love my team. I'm pretty sure my team knows that. They do an amazing job taking care of my clients. But we have such a great bond, and now we're up to 80 people. Hard to do that. 20 people was easy. 30 people was easy. 50 was like, 80? It's tough. It doesn't mean you can't do, like, the great thing about video, now I do this because of going through this mastermind. I send 3 a week of a video of me saying, hey, Liz, I thought you did a great job on that last week. I thought that presentation was phenomenal. You rocked it out of this world. Thank you so much. Boom. Send it on a text message. Can I tell you the love I get back from that? It costs me nothing. Small things like that go a long way, guys. Just to please and to thank you. I have this great idea of a thank you project now because of Simon's last video. And I'm like, we got to do this more often because most people don't say it. My team does. So very happy about that. And then luck is only a piece of it. So you mentioned lucky. Most of it's hard work and grit. There is luck involved. I was at the right spot at the right time to get that big client to really move us up. But family first. Always. I used to do a lot of executive recruiting. And the funny thing was a lot of them basically came to me and said, what would you do differently? Guys, 99% said, I would have spent more time with my family. Because it wasn't always, I thought it was about the money, but now I'm realizing it was more about basically just a balance of my life, and family should have been first. And I really took that and I said, that's never going to happen to me. So my son now is also an entrepreneur. He's a senior at Penn State. And, ironically enough, he's trying to follow the footsteps. He was here last year at the Rise and Record event in St. Petersburg and won an award, and he didn't know about it, and because he's really into video and stuff like that. And I'm so proud of him, because it is, it's hard sometimes for me because I'm that accountant and make sure everything's right and make sure you have this and that. And you gotta let them go and trust them and tell them that you love them. because the hugs, you got to do the hugs again, people, because they're missed. And tell your team you love them, because they probably need it more than you can ever imagine right now, because they're all going through a bunch of stuff and all too. But I'm so happy to be a part of this. We do social media all over the place, and I'm telling you, we would not even be close to it without coming to Rise and Record. So for that, I'm so thankful.
That means a lot. Thank you.
No problem.
Thank
That's
you.
me.
I have a few questions.
Yeah.
By the way, while we were doing this, I sent a video to Zach.
Oh, did you
Out
really?
of this, I had to show him. I had the honor to get to work with Zach a little bit, just to help him with his videographer business. Great kid, doing some big things. You just shared a powerful story, obviously, of where you've started, where you've gone, and what you've created with the O'Connor Group. As you were talking, I thought about a very specific exercise I gave you a while back, where you had to create a video that was telling something about your story that most people didn't know. I remember you created this video and you published it on LinkedIn, because you're big on LinkedIn, and you had a lot of traction, comments and everything. And you had a lot of positive feedback, but you also had one person share something. Can you share exactly what you shared in the video?
Yeah.
And then what that video, one specific video, led to for you?
Yeah, so in 2015, I had to put my dad into assisted living. That was really hard. I don't realize my mom died when I was in college. My sister was murdered in '97, and so my dad and I were very tight. And he had got dementia, and then I had to put him in assisted living, which was really hard for me. And it was a really difficult decision in my life. And one of them was, when we were in there, and the doctors all said we should put him on hospice, and I sat there I can't explain it, but you get engulfed in that moment. And here I was signing papers for hospice, and I was and then I walked away, and I was just no, my dad's Navy. He's a World War II Navy vet. No. And I said, I came back and I tear up the papers. I'm you people. I'm no, my dad will tell you when he's done, and you had to make these things. And so I had to do a video of a really hard communication of what I had to do. And, and I shared it out there all over the place. And that's the hardest part, is because you become vulnerable. And when you become vulnerable, it's just you literally look at as soon as you post it, you're did anybody like it? Okay, back and forth. Did anybody reading it? Oh my God, people are making comments, oh my God. And you're just shit, why did I do that? But I was so glad I did. But one person got back and she got very angry. She's how dare that person ask that question of you? That is a personal and private question and blah, blah, blah. And I sat there listen, I understand that. I said, but 5 people already responded to me and said, thank you for sharing that. I had a similar experience, and it's good to know I'm not alone. Very powerful. And because of that, I felt more relieved at my decision of doing that, but I felt as if, oh my God, I just helped 5 people. I didn't even realize it. So being vulnerable out there and doing that extra, and trust me, the challenges are good, they're hard. We had to do a video every single day for one time, and one time I had a church service at nighttime. It was 5 minutes to 12. I'm crap, I have 5 minutes. So I got in the corner of the church kitchen. I'm hi, it's Marcia here. I got 5 minutes, and I'm making this challenge. I will make this challenge. And he doesn't even realize I did that, but I did. I had it in the corner. But I made that challenge, on that week. But it was interesting because it really pushed you to that limit. Very, very uncomfortable for me. I feel comfortable now, but he's where's your videos? Hey, listen, we are all over the social media, too. And it's probably still harder for me hey, where's you? But I'm getting better at it and all too, but I'm very thankful for that. But you have to realize that it's not only you're helping you are actually making an impact on so many more people out there that you haven't even met yet in your life. And by being vulnerable, because so many people are probably sitting there right now saying, oh my God, I want to do a business. Oh my God, I need to do this. I need to do this and all too. And maybe it's that one thing you said or that little just bit of wisdom is all that person needed to get to that next level. So always remember, someone's always listening and watching what you were doing.
I want to thank you, because what you just shared there is the exact reason why Samantha and I do Rise and Record. That you sharing that story, because we found on documentary and films we've done, it's actually very therapeutic for somebody to share the story publicly with the world, specifically through video. And yes, people reach out and they'll be I don't feel alone. Yes, it'll lead to business, but it does something for you as a human being, and it is life-changing. And that, thank you for sharing that.
You're welcome.
It makes me happy knowing, and I'm honored you're on this stage. I want to, before we wrap up, what's one thing you can leave with the audience?
Conquer your fear. No, don't be afraid. That fear that you're wasting your own life by fearing too much. It'll definitely push you, but don't push it in the wrong direction. Because I'm so glad I did all this. Zach and I are so tight. My husband and I are so tight. My team and I are so tight. It takes a lot of work to take care of your team. And it's hard sometimes to take care of you. Like, I'm probably getting the eye from Megan right now about this. But needless to say, you got to take care of yourself as well and figure, where do you want to be? Not just today, but 10 and 20. What's your legacy? And when you start asking yourself every day what your legacy is, it's pretty powerful. You know what I mean? I just want to make sure that I left the world a happier place. I felt a success. Someone's happy. I had a garden. Just like Ralph Waldo Emerson always says. It's a great poem. And you have to live your life the way you want to see it. But you have to really do it. Some people say it, but they don't do it. Don't waste your life, guys, because you only have one.
Let's give her a round of applause.
Thank you.